Hey guys, it is J.Belle, Girl Talk with J.Belle. We're on episode 8. I can't believe this. And I have the founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Co., Beatrice Dixon. Yes, that owner. You definitely changed the game earlier this year and late last year with your Target ad and your products selling out everywhere to the point where people still can't find them. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm grateful.
That's good. That's good. One thing I do want to ask before we jump into things, what are your thoughts on on the decision of not getting justice for Breonna Taylor?
Um, that the system,
Yeah,
that the system is doing what it was designed to do.
It's not for us at all.
I mean, it's meant to protect their own in a way.
Yeah.
And that can be relative. That can mean a lot of things. I think that it's that it's terrible. And I just think that the system is doing precisely what it was designed to do.
I agree.
But Breonna is, it's unfortunate how she had to go or how she left. She didn't have to go that way. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, it's definitely a sucky situation, and I think it weighs heavy on all of us. Gonna pivot back around. I just wanted to get your opinion before we went into it, because I know it's something very heavy that people were upset and mad, but it's something that needs to be talked about. And obviously, you don't want to get too deep into it, but you definitely want people to understand, like, hey, what the hell?
It's not rocket science, right? Like, everybody feels that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, even people that may not act like they know that it's wrong, knows that shit is wrong and terrible, and that it communicates precisely what it was designed to communicate. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to turn these things around. I don't know how to get justice for her and for all those that fell before her and that will fall after her,
Right.
But what we can do as humans is lift our vibration, and understand that day, it may not be as terrible as that, but it's coming for all of us, So do your best, be good to yourself, be good to humanity, and be good to your moments, because life is short, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sermon indeed. Well, let's go ahead and dive into your life. Starting out, let's talk about your background and a little bit of your childhood to kind of break down into your story.
Mm-hmm. My background is pretty normal. I was born in Virginia. I went through a lot coming into the world. But I'm still here. I made it. When I was like 10, we moved to Arizona because my mom had some really serious back issues. And her doctor told her that Arizona would be a really great place for her because the seasonality isn't as, it doesn't change as much as it does on the East Coast.
Right.
And so we moved to Phoenix, and I grew up there, and I graduated from high school there. And when I graduated from high school, I was a pharmacy technician, and I did that for like 10 years. And then And then with that, I moved back to DC. And then I decided I hated it there for that moment in my life.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't enjoyable. And then I moved to Atlanta, and I've been in Atlanta ever since for like 15 or 16 years.
Wow.
In Atlanta, you know, I was a pharmacy tech. I had a cleaning business. I had an organizing business. I worked at Whole Foods. I started Honey Pot with my brother, and you know, eventually Linda and Antoinette and everybody that's here now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a broker for like 100 food companies, and then I was a sales manager for a startup. So I've done all kinds of things, you know.
Well, definitely a hustler and a grinder. But
Yeah,
the biggest part to me is you're a Southern girl too.
yeah, I am now. Yeah, I've been there long enough, you know.
Long enough, you're a Southern girl. So let me ask you this, because you said you lived in Phoenix. Um, you went to high school there. How was it being a black woman living here?
Yeah, oh,
Being
is
black,
that where you
period.
are? Are you from
Yeah.
Phoenix?
No, I'm not from Phoenix, but I live here right now.
You live there. Uh, it felt, for me, Phoenix felt monotonous. It felt very like you grow up, you graduate from school, you get a job, or you go to college, you have a family, you know, and it just felt and this is my experience because I grew
Right.
up there. It wasn't bad. There was nothing wrong with it. It just, the energy just wasn't enough. It felt, for me, it felt stagnant, you know? And I don't know that was necessarily my blackness, except for the part that, you know, I didn't go to a school that was mostly black, right? There were only a few of us, you know, but I don't know. It felt, for me, my energy didn't align with it, but that's me, you know?
Right.
But then that could be because I grew up there, and places that you grow up, you normally want to leave, you know?
That's true. That's
Yeah.
definitely true. The
What do you
first,
think?
um, I knew 6 months in, I felt the same energy that you felt
Mm-hmm.
as far as like the stagnant part of it, because it's not a lot happening here. Even
Mm-hmm.
though it's like one of the largest cities in the country, and you know, it's growing every day, it's still a lot of like a lot of the old school thinking, so to speak. And when it comes to being black in Phoenix, I mean, I haven't experienced any racism myself, but I've seen it. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of get some of the microaggressions too. I would say that
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced microaggressions. Um,
That's everywhere, you
yeah,
know?
but definitely it's a lot different here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you live in the South, because I'm from the South, um, you experience it in a different way, because people, especially black people, if they live somewhere all their life, they have that mentality of wanting to stay there, or that slave mentality of, but okay, she's doing better than me. Why is she doing better than me? You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to work for somebody for the rest of our lives. Why would she want something better? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like what I experienced, which is why I left the South. And here it's kind of like looking at me like, well, is she black? Is she mixed?
Mm-hmm.
Is she black? I don't know how to.
Well, and the answer to that is, why does that even matter? You know?
It it does, well, it matters because it's 2020.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I guess I just think about it a different way. I can't control
Oh, I see what you're saying. You can't
I
control
can't
what someone does.
control somebody else's thoughts or questions about me. Like, so, like, you know, not that people's thoughts or questions don't matter, but in a way they kind of don't. Not to me. It only matters to them,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Especially in that context.
Right.
Obviously certain things matter to you, right? But
Right.
in the context of any kind of like microaggression, because those are gonna come. I think people are I think people are wrapped up into their own conditioning and don't understand that when you have an aggression, or when you have something negative to say about somebody, or when you get yourself involved in things that aren't your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're really saying a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I'm learning how to not care, and it's a process. It's definitely a process, especially when you're, like you said, you're used to it, but you can't control what other people are thinking.
No, yeah, but it still bothers you though. I'm not gonna front.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I'm learning how to look past that and not deal with it. Some stuff is just not worth responding to, or just like even, you just like shrug your shoulders, like whatever.
But you still have to feel though.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
definitely feel it. I feel it
yeah,
within myself. I vent it out, then I let it go. But I don't respond to
exactly,
that person that has made me feel that way.
right,
This escalates bigger, and then you're like, well, why did I even give that person that energy in the first place? That's my energy to have.
right,
I don't want to
right,
share that. So
exactly.
that's where I'm at with it. But moving on, we'll reel the question back in. Because you're talking about you started a whole lot of different businesses. When did you know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur instead of just working for somebody?
I think once I started the cleaning business and it started to grow, I realized that I didn't make money unless I was doing a service, and so I realized quickly, not quickly, I mean a couple years in, that it was like, I don't think I want to do this, because that's hard work. And when you are really good at it, people don't want other people to clean, they want you to.
Yeah.
And that can be a little challenging. So I realized that I didn't want to be in a cleaning business. I wanted to be, or certain, I shouldn't say a cleaning business. I didn't want to be in a service-based business. I wanted to be in a business where I could make money in my sleep. And so I knew that would have required being in the product business, because products are constantly selling, moving. They're online, they're in stores. Somebody's buying something in this moment.
Right.
Which I'm grateful for. Thank you. But you know what I mean. So like, I think it was then is when I realized it. But once Honey Pot worked for me, it automatically in that moment I was like, oh, I want to make this into a business. This is the product that I've been like waiting for.
Which brings me to my next question. Why feminine products?
Because my grandmother came to me in a dream and told me how to fix my feminine issue. I had bacterial vaginosis for almost a year, and nothing that I was doing was working. And she met me in the dream and handed me a piece of paper, and it had a formula on it. And she told me to memorize it, and I did. And when I woke up, I wrote it down. I bought the stuff within a couple of days. I made it. And then what I made worked. And so that's why. Because my vagina was bugging out for a while. And then all of a sudden it wasn't,
And your products they're organic based. Because I've read
Well,
a lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're clean. So they're clean. Not everything is organic though, because that is that's a different. I didn't mean to cut you. I just wanted to make
I'm saying.
differentiation. So our cotton, we use clean cotton. So the cotton hasn't been bleached and it hasn't been cleaned with bleach. They've removed any genetically modified materials out of it. We use essential oils on them. Our washes have some organic ingredients in them, but they are plant derived. Wipes, the same thing. So, it's a plant derived line. That's the better way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you for breaking that explanation down. Can you give us insight into some of the obstacles you faced when you first started your business? Wait, that laugh that means a lot.
Because you know why it's funny? Because it's like people always go back to the beginning, it's funny because you're constantly met with obstacles. Constant. It is, there is not a day that there's not a challenge. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I can go back and I can think back to times that things happened and I can do all that shit. But like, the real answer to that question from my point of view is that all that's ever going to happen in business, because there's so much that you're not in control of, there's going to be a lot of really great things and some things are going to go really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're constantly going to be met with a challenge because you're making something out of nothing, right?
Right.
Especially if it's a product, like you've pulled a product out of thin air. You may have gone to a manufacturer, you may have done all the things, you may make it in your kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that you are like creating something to sell to the open market in a world where there's like zillions of people doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, you know, it's so yeah, so like the challenge, there's so many challenges. I mean, there were challenges around just starting. There were challenges around like, how do you put, like, what kind of bottle do you use? Like, what should the label look like? Where do I buy my barcodes? Like, you know, how do you get customers, right? Because like you design a website and you're like, everybody's gonna come, and then nobody comes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like that, you know, and the thing that's cool about it is you just got to figure this shit out.
Just working along.
You just got to keep figuring it out. And that's how you know it's meant for you. If you can keep figuring it out and you can keep jumping over the hurdles that are like the size of the Empire State Building, right? Like you can do it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then this goes into my next question, because you know, even as working in 9 to 5, there's obstacles. And I kind of want you to explain, how can I put this? I'm pretty sure you saw it earlier this year. B. Simone made this big fuss about she can't be with a man that works a 9 to 5. She got to have somebody else that's an entrepreneur. She basically gave 9 to 5ers bad name. And so like, you even have like business Twitter talking about, well, you should work for yourself. You definitely have to work for yourself. You can't work a 9 to 5. And I think the biggest conversation, right? Everybody's not meant to work be an entrepreneur. And so I, you know, want to understand or get from your point of view, should everyone own at some point in their life, in their career?
If they want to.
Okay.
There's responsibility that comes with that. You know, like there is remarkable responsibility that comes with having a business that has employees. You're responsible for how people eat, how people feed their family, for how people fucking pay their bill and keep a roof over their head, put clothes on their back, right? Put savings accounts away. You're responsible for that, especially if it's like a business that's growing. And plus, if everybody was an entrepreneur, who would I hire?
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And if I'm constantly hiring people that are striving to have their own business, that's not really the kind of employee that I can have. Right?
Right.
Even though everybody, you know, for the, you know, most people in our company own a small percentage of it, but still, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You know, if everybody was meant to have a business, what's the statistic that 80 to 90% of people that start a business, their business is going to end, their business is going to fail within 24 months or something like that. If that frame of mind, saying that and putting that type of conditioning out into the world is the thing that can make those businesses fail. Because if you're doing it because you think you have to and not because you want to, you have to want to do this shit. Because this shit is hard, man. And you got to be a little crazy to want to do this. I mean, like, business Twitter and these people on social media also glamorize business, and I'm sorry, it's beautiful, but there's not a lot of glamour to the shit, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, everybody wants to have a profitable business. You know how long it takes to have a profitable business, like a real profitable one, especially in this type of business?
Right.
How
How long?
It can take time. It can take years.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in tech businesses and consumer packaged goods businesses, you almost have to raise money unless you came from a lot of money. And every time you raise money, you're selling equity, but you can't help but do it because you got to grow and you got to sell, right? At some point, right? And if you're not selling, then the longer you keep your business alive, hopefully it's able to take care of itself, right? Your margins are good enough to where you can maintain the business, and the, you know, or maybe your products are expensive, so you're able to, like, actually the business is able to hold itself. But a lot of businesses can't just hold itself. It needs funding for that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a remarkable amount of work, right?
Yeah.
Having to be out in the public. You have to, you know, like today I had a long day, right? If I'm honest, I don't feel like doing this shit right now because I do this 6 times a day and I still have to do my job. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But this is a part of my job, right?
Yeah.
So whether I had a bad day or not, I still got to get right here and I still got to talk to you. And I love it. And I'm grateful that you have me here. I'm just telling you, this is the shit. This is the real shit.
Right.
And it's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to cook myself some food because I haven't eaten a proper meal today. And I want to take a shot of whiskey. And that's what I want to do right now, you know? But I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And so you know, so it's like, you shouldn't do that unless you want to do that.
Mm.
Even though in this moment, I may feel like doing something else, at the foundation of what all of this is what it takes for me to get to the thing I got to get to, right? So fuck how I feel. Fuck that meal I want to cook. Fuck that shot of whiskey that I want to have. Fuck that drag from my joint that I want to take, because this is the work, and
right.
You have to want to do it. You have to be relentless about it. You have to, like, you have to strive for it in a way that you've never strived for it before, right? Because in order to keep it, it takes that energy to keep it, to make it grow, to make it successful, to make it sell, to make it do all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of things have to happen before one of my bottles of wash ends up on the shelf. Wow. 18 people have a job so that one bottle can get on a shelf. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you employ a lot of people, so in order to keep them employed, you got to do your job as the face and as the owner of that company.
Down to the smallest thing.
Yeah.
The human that cleans the office, right?
Yeah.
She has to do her job so that the office is clean, so that people can go in, so that they can do their work and feel safe. Nothing is even down to the smallest thing. Nothing can be taken for granted.
Right.
Right? Because it takes a bunch of little tiny things for this big thing to exist. So you got to sign up for that shit. You can't do it just because some dumbass Twitter feed says that you should do it, or some girl fucking says that she can't date a guy who has a 9-to-5. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's, you should date whoever you like, and if they have a 9-to-5 or a job and you like them, right? You shouldn't need nobody else. What they do is their business. As long as they're good to you, that's what matters, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, so sorry for the long answer, but it's like, that kind of stuff upsets me, because that's the thing that keeps people enslaved, because they're being conditioned to something that they think they're supposed to do. And you supposed to do whatever the fuck you want to do. What are you passionate about? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to live? How do you want to curate your experience on this planet? Right?
Right.
And not because of people that can project their idea of what they think that success is. Success is relative.
I mean, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing this, because I totally understand where you're coming from, as far as like not wanting to do certain things. And so I really do appreciate you being a part of this podcast and breaking down how hard it is to be an entrepreneur, regardless of the times, you know, just having that mindset of wanting to do this, as you said, do this shit, because you definitely got to be crazy. And you definitely got to have the mindset of like, I might not sleep for a couple of days because this has to get done. So with all that hard work and you putting yourself out there, you had this huge ad that came out. I just remember waking up one day and I started looking on my Instagram feed, as I usually do, because I am a radio personality and that's part of our job. And so I look and I see your ad, and I see the headline is basically is a lot of backlash because it was full of us in it and expressing us and, you know, celebrating us. And so how did you deal with that backlash from all of these non-Black people when that happened?
Well, I just didn't take it on, man. Because some of those people that had dumb shit to say were Black. You know what I mean? Not everybody on that thing was white. You know?
Right. Understandable. Yeah.
And a lot of the people that supported us and rallied for us and gave love and good energy, everybody wasn't Black. Mostly were Black, I think, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
You got bots.
Humans showed up. Right? And humans showed up on the side of the of the controversy, which all of that stuff was hilarious, you know?
Right.
And then humans showed up to be beautiful and kind and loving and you know, democratic in the way that it was like, this is wrong, we need to make this right, you know? And maybe what that goes back to Breonna Taylor and everything that's going on. Humans can get a lot of things done, you know? Right. And so I was just grateful that I was grateful for both, actually, if I'm honest, because those people took us viral. Whether it went viral due to something negative.
I'm sorry. Hold on one. Really good. I hate to do this. Okay. So real talk, I just started work back this week, and they started their weekly meeting, and so I have to mute it so I can do this podcast with you because I was not going to change it again.
That's hilarious.
So I'm multitasking right now.
It's all good. It's all good. But no, honestly, my feeling was gratefulness. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the people that had all the terrible things to say and gave all those bad reviews. Right. And I'm grateful for the people that showed up. And I'm grateful for Target, for the commercial. And I'm grateful that they gave me the freedom and that they chose that particular content because they could have chosen anything. I'm grateful for precisely how the experience happened. You know what I mean? Right. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I was going to ask you, how did you feel after all your your products sold out across the country?
It was crazy. It was crazy, and if I'm honest, it was uncomfortable.
Oh, why uncomfortable? That's
because
go ahead.
Because you want to be able to supply for the demand. You know, you want when somebody comes to your website or your business and does commerce with you and exchanges money for a product,
Right.
the least that you can do is give them the thing that they came and gave you their money for. People work hard for their money, right?
Right.
And I'm grateful for that. I don't take that shit for granted. When everything happened with COVID, it was hard because one day people were working, the next day they weren't. Right. And really that shit happened real fast. So people didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what was gonna happen. And you know, that's sad. Like and the fact that a lot of those people had spent their money with us, right?
Right.
And they had ordered, and our website had a glitch in it, and it was letting people order things that had already been sold out, right?
Oh, wow.
That was tough. That was hard because we had to email them and say, hey, we don't have this, right? And beg them to not take a refund and then send them things from our office. I mean, it was crazy. It was hard, and it was good, but there was a lot happening when all that was happening, and so and I want people to be able to show up to the store and it's there,
Right.
but that's not in my control.
You just gotta let things happen as they may, like the ships fall where they may. And and it's funny because I was just gonna ask you about that, because I saw that you were in Entrepreneur magazine. You were being spotlighted in there, and you were kind of talking about a little bit about, how business has been going since then. And I just wanted to know how do you keep sane during this? Like, nobody knew that this was coming. Well, the powers that be did, right, but the rest of us did not see it coming. And so, like you said, you're an entrepreneur, and you have to kind of do the supply and demand of things. How were you able to maintain once you kind of got a handle on that? Or if you have gotten a handle?
We're working on still getting a handle. We're handling it better, but we still working on handles. I just want to be able to, and some days are easier than other. Most days I'm pretty, for lack of better words, because I don't necessarily believe in balance, but most days I'm pretty balanced. Most days things don't get to me, but some days are harder than others, and I just allow myself to feel, and I allow myself to be there. I don't need to be perfect. I don't have shit to prove to anybody. And I'm having a human experience, and I'm just trying to do the best that I can do,
Right.
And so that's enough for me, So I just stick with that, and then just, figure that shit out as I go,
Gotcha. I gotcha. This is a question you might laugh or you might roll your eyes. Do you ever think that men in high places, this is coming down to politics, will stop policing women's bodies?
No, I don't.
Straightforward like that. Always gonna be some type of change. Well, as we get ready to close out, I know you're a very busy woman. You might want to take a couple of minutes to, to chill, take that shot of whiskey right quick, and keep it moving. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Happy, present, healthy, and well and emotionally intelligent within my mind. That's all I really give a fuck about.
Ooh, that's strong. Most people say I want to be married with kids and moving on to the next thing, but those right there, present within yourself, that's strong. I can take that. I can take that. Do you have any advice for new entrepreneurs or aspiring ones? I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but advice for them.
Um, do your absolute best and don't need anything from it. Don't need to be told you're doing a great job. Don't need accolades. Don't need awards. Don't need none of that shit. Do your best and strive your best.
Wow.
Get to your North Star as quick as you fucking can. And just because you can. You know? Don't eat the ego food. Cause it'll make you sick. You know?
Don't feed into what people are saying. Just be thankful within yourself.
Because if you're not doing it to be the best, what are you doing?
Or who are you
Right?
doing it for?
Who are you
Gotcha.
doing it for? Well, if you're not striving for everything, right? What are you doing? And if you are striving for that, if that's your goal, if excellence is your goal, then excellence is what you will get, right?
Right.
And that excellence, it may come with all the glory and the hoopla and all the shit, but you didn't do it for the glory and the hoopla. You did it because that's just what you wanted, you know? So,
right.
And then the other thing is take care of yourself, you know? Take care of your mind and your body and understand that everything on this planet is connected. Everything is. This fucking fly that's flying around in my apartment right now. The air that we're breathing the same air. The sun that we're looking at the same sun, right?
Yes.
You know, just be good to yourself and give yourself grace. You know, my brother always says that.
That I can take in. Well, thank you so much, Beatrice, for being a part of my podcast. You definitely dropped some gems, some real gems. And of course, if there's any upcoming things you want to share that you would like people to check you out on or see, we already know about Honey Pot Co. We about to go buy out some more, so be ready for us. You know.
Yeah, just look, just stay tuned, man. Just keep close to the social media. If you signed up for a newsletter, keep close to that. Pay attention. You know, if I'm honest, I only know what I'm doing today. You know,
I got you.
if it ain't around our supply chain or operations or something like that, if it's something like this, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow. You know, I'm doing this today. So,
right.
So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, share your social media for us one good time so the listeners can know and want to follow you.
I am my social media is I am Bea Dixon, Beadixon. The Honey Pot is the Honey Pot Co. You can also find us on the honeypot.co or the honeypot.com. You can go to our store locator, put in your zip code, and then that'll tell you all the retailers that we're in close to you. You know, you can pretty much find our products at Target, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Bed Bath & Beyond, Kroger, which is where you are, is Fry's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in California, I think it's called Fred Meyer. You know, amongst many other places.
Okay, cool. Yeah, guys, make sure that you're following Beatrice. Make sure that you're buying out the products. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to buy it out. And
y'all are doing a good job doing that, by the way. Thank you.
We're going to continue doing it. We're going to continue to support Black businesses everywhere. And again, thank you. Thank you for taking this time to do this. I had a joy. Joy, because you were raw and truthful with it. And that's one thing that we do not get enough of in this world.
Thank you.
All right, guys, make sure you're following me too on Instagram at J.Belle. That's JNELLEBELLE. And you can follow me on my Twitter. I'm a little bit more raw there, if you want to, if that's a word. a little bit more open at J.Belle on air. Until next time, guys, we'll check you out later. Bye.
Yeah.
All right.